Hi guys, welcome back to the Crafty Maven Getaway. Today I am doing Sketch It Out Thursday, and you just saw the sketch that I had up on the video just a minute ago. I am going to be doing that sketch, and I'm actually going to do a loose interpretation of the sketch. Well, at least loose for me. Normally when I do a sketch, I do something very specific to the sketch, like I do exactly like the sketch shows. And this time I didn't have all the same elements, and I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit and go a little bit outside of my comfort zone. For some reason, when I do sketches, I feel like I have to follow them to a T. So this time I am not quite doing that. And then the inspiration, I got the pinks and the golds and the blues from the inspiration, and also there's some pink florals that kind of inspired me to pull this paper line. This is the polka dot party paper from Dear Lizzie, and this is all I'm using on this layout. And what I did on that background sheet of paper is I put clear gesso on the background, I let it dry, and I'm going to do some ink smushing techniques with the package like you've seen before. And right now I am just layering up the paper behind my photo, and this is a photo of me and my daughter at a movie we were going to see. This is before the movie started. And the reason I chose this particular background paper is, if you remember in the sketch, there was a banner element and a picture in the kind of upper left hand side, and then there was a title in the bottom right, well, and a cluster like with some embellishments and such. So what I ended up doing is pulling this paper because the florals in the bottom right hand corner I thought mimicked the sketch very well with that embellishment cluster that is in the bottom right. So that's kind of why I chose this paper as opposed to just pulling like a white or a plain cardstock. And I'm actually going to be putting my title someplace else. So that's, again, going back to what I'm talking about as far as a loose sketch, but that's totally fine. I think a lot of people actually just use sketches as a jumping off point and don't necessarily follow them to the T, and that is perfectly fine. Or if you want to follow them exactly, that is not a problem as well. So like I said, I am just kind of figuring out how I want to layer my photo. I'm going to staple this in place so that the layers don't move, and I'm just tucking in this pink, and then I'll add that blue strip here at the end here in a second. And I'm just going to put that there. I believe I'm going to end up putting it on the right hand side to kind of anchor that. And it looked like my layers were a little bit crooked, and I think it is that floral layer that's right there. So I just trimmed that top part off, and now I'm going to add that blue, and I'm just going to stick it down with some double-sided adhesive from my Scotch ATG gun. So now I am figuring out what I want to do next. I do want to pop this photo up, but because I'm a little bit wary of foam directly on my photo, I ended up gluing my photo down to the paper and then putting the foam on the back of the paper. Just makes me feel a little more comfortable. I mean, I know it's not archival safe whether I put it behind the photo or not, but I don't really want it touching my photo. So that's why I did that instead of putting it directly on the photo. So now I'm cutting these banners into 2-inch strips, and so I'm going to have 3 banners just like the sketch. I'm going to have the blue, the pink, and this black, or kind of a grayish, charcoal kind of grayish and white stripe, and then the pink. And then that pink is actually going to go in the middle because I don't have a piece that's long enough, so I'm just going to make it look like it is long as it needs to be. So I'm going to fiddle with these layers, trying to figure out how long I want each of the strips, and I'm going to cut the ends in a little fishtail banner. And then you're going to see them all cut here in just a second. And after I get them like I want them, I'm going to kind of glue them to each other, because next I'm going to be messing around with the background and I need to glue them together. Oh, and the reason I moved that blue strip is because I have that blue strip of paper on the actual photo cluster, and I didn't want it blending in too much with the blue banner strip. So I just swapped this stripe for the polka dot. And now I'm just going to glue these together, like I said, so that when I place them back down on the layout, everything is where I want it to be while I go do this mixed media. So you can see here I'm just kind of connecting these banners really quick and easy just so I can get them back later on. And then because this strip was 2 pieces, I am just going to put that together as well. And so while I'm doing that, I just want to make sure you guys are checking out the Crafty Maven Facebook page. If you're not already on that page and like that page, please make sure you go over there. The links are below. I want to make sure that you guys play along with us if you're interested. We do these different things each day, and so if you want to do the sketch that I have here, you can definitely do that and play along. Or if you have some ideas that you wanted to share on the Facebook page, you can do that as well and just share your layouts. We are always excited to see what you guys are up to and what you're doing. And if you have any suggestions for anything for any of our layouts, let us know if you have any suggestions. Maybe we can potentially incorporate those as well. And if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. We're always appreciative of your comments and your appreciation and your thumbs up. So if you like the video, definitely give us a thumbs up. So now I am working on the background, and I'm taking the October Afternoon Twilight Mist, and I have to admit, I sprayed this down on the packaging and I was like, ooh, I don't know, this is pretty dark. I don't know if I'm going to use it. And then I said, well, be brave. I have gesso in the background. Oh, and here, sorry to interrupt, but my camera is going to shift here, but it does get fixed, so I apologize for being shifted. But when I started dabbing this down, it tilted, but it gets fixed here in a second. But anyway, going back to the color, I was very nervous about using that color and on the packaging, and I thought, well, you know, it's got the gesso in the background, so if nothing else, I can add some water and then lighten it up and then pat it off, and that's what I ended up doing. So it's maybe a little bit, I don't know, more bold than I was expecting it to be or wanted it to be, but it ends up turning out just fine in the end. Like I said, I was able to dot a lot of it up and get a lot of the excess up, so it wasn't bad at all. So I just use a paper towel and kind of clean that up, and here's where I'm going to fix this camera. So I apologize again for it being a little crooked, but it gets fixed here in just a second. There you go. So now I'm done with the background. I like it. I do need to add some silver mist too. Oh, sorry, no, I am going to add a little bit more water, trying to lighten up just a little bit, just mushing up that paint a bit more with my paintbrush and dabbing it off, trying to lift up some of that color so it's not too bold, because I want it to kind of look like that blue paper strip, and that blue paper strip has a bit of a gray color to it, so that's kind of why I was doing that. So now I'm just putting tons and tons of the silver Mr. Huey's down until I like what it looks like, and now it's pretty good. So now I'm just going to start gluing down my different layers how I like them, and I'm going to end up cutting a fishtail out to bring that pink color, because the only place that the pink was besides in my daughter's shirt was that stripe that comes down in the middle, and I wanted to make the pink go a couple different places, so that's why I decided to put that fishtail in the bottom right there. I'm taking this tissue paper that I think is from Ruby and Hazel. I could be totally wrong on that. It was some tissue paper I picked up at Michael's. It was on clearance, and I just think it's really awesome. It's got gray and white chevron, and then it's got this really cool newsprint. And then I was struggling with my HEG gun, so I decided to pull out the liquid glue to get this foam glued down. I'm going to glue that on top of the tissue paper, and I really just like the layer that it has. It gives a little bit of a texture, dimension, and it is just really, really pretty tissue paper. So I think it adds a lot to the layout. It was looking a little bit, I don't know, plain to me, so I think having that tissue paper kind of spruced it up a bit. So now I'm going to put a ton of adhesive on the back of this because it has that gesso. The clear gesso has kind of a grit to it, at least the one that I use. So adding lots of adhesive is the only way to go, because you need to make sure that stuff sticks. So there you go, those are my banners. And I'm going to kind of figure out where I want my picture, and I'm going to glue it down. I'm just adding my tape runner again here. I'm going to add that down, and then I'm going to come back in with some pink thread. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Missy Whidden, but she uses the pink thread in a lot of her layouts, and she's really inspired me and to use the pink thread, and it really, really adds a cool dimension. In the video, it's kind of hard to see the texture and dimension it gives, but when you see the close-ups or you see it in person, it's really neat, and it doesn't like weigh the page down, so it's not a very heavy element, but it really gives a cool texture that I really, really enjoy. So I'm definitely going to be doing that more often. I just really, really like how that looks. Also, in the bottom right hand cluster, you can kind of see that there is some kind of messy look there too, and so I added the string, and I thought it just went together. So now I'm going to start embellishing. That Love Being Together was from the Polka Dot Party die cut pack. I'm going to pop that up on foam because it was looking a little funny since my picture was popped up. I'm just going to add a little bit of liquid adhesive back there, and I'm going to end up adding some thread behind that circle as well. I just think it needed a little bit of something. I have thread in more than 3 places now with that there, but I think it worked well, and it kind of just needed to go there. It was calling its name, it needed that thread. So I'm just sticking that under there. This smile word came from a thicker sheet, and I love this, and it's perfect with the inspiration piece, because one of the inspiration pieces I think was either a mug or a letter, maybe it was both, that had like a pink and a silver sparkle and glitter, and I thought these thickers would be perfect. So they definitely inspired me to pull these thickers out, because I wouldn't have necessarily pulled them out otherwise. So pretty exciting that I was able to pull those thickers out, and it went really well with this layout and with the inspiration. I'm adding these photo corners to the top right and bottom left. I'm going to add a little bit more glue because the thread was misbehaving and trying to come out from underneath the circle. So that is about all I'm going to do. I'm going to add a few more bits and pieces. Oh no, I'm sorry. I forgot I hadn't added these yet. These are a little sticker pack from that polka dot party. They're supposed to be cardstock stickers, but I don't know. I cannot get the backing off of them, so I just gave up and I just glued them down with my ATG gun. I was not having any luck getting them off. So, you know, when all else fails, just glue it down with your adhesive. So I am going to take that tag and put it in the top left, and it does have a word on it, but I really wanted it for the color only, so I end up covering the word up, and it kind of goes behind the layers, which is fine. And then I'm going to add some liquid glue there because the thread was up there and it was kind of misbehaving as well, and it needed to get stuck down. So again, I wanted to bring some more pink around the layout. I only have it in those two places. I did one in a third place. I like the butterfly that was on there, but I decided that the color is really what I was going for. Plus, turning it on its side with the butterfly, it just didn't seem to look right. So I ended up just putting it there just so the pink is peeking out ever so slightly. I added those two enamel shapes. They're circles in the bottom right and the top left. The bottom right one I think is a blue with a chevron, and the top left one is pink and lighter pink hearts. I'm adding another one of those stickers in that greenish color to mimic the color that's in that love being together circle. Again, just bringing those colors across the page so that they're in more than one spot. So now I have it both in the flower, or in three places: the flower cluster, the circle, and then up there in the top right. And now I'm just going to add these little hearts that are sparkly throughout the layout. Again, just bringing that sparkle throughout the layout like I did with the colors. And then I'm going to add this arrow because it's cute and it just kind of brings your eye into the middle of the page where the photo is. And then I think I'm just going to be messing with it just a little bit more. I ended up doing some stitching in the top, kind of mimicking the sketch, and there in the bottom right where it says "You Crack Me Up." And then I think... oh, I'm going to add a couple more I'm going to add a couple more sparkly, shimmery silver pieces, and that's pretty much it, or sprinkles, I should say. I don't know what I'm saying. And that's pretty much it. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'm going to have some still shots here in just a minute, and I will also show you some close-ups in the video so you can kind of see how the layers and stuff looked. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about what we did, then you can leave those comments below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, I will talk to you again soon. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.